Hello everyone, I'm Teresa and today's video will be about Major Arcana card number 2, the High Priestess. Welcome back to another video of the Tarot series. Today we will observe more closely the mysterious card of the High Priestess. On this video, I'll analyze the images and key elements of the card and help you with their meanings. As always, this is my interpretation and yours might differ, so you are more than welcome to disagree with me and share your insights on the subject, as long as you keep it polite and respectful. Going back to my Rider-Waite-Smith video or doing a quick search on basic numerology meanings, you'll see that the number 2 stands for duality and balance. So when looking at the High Priestess as the card number 2, you have already a quick idea that it will work a bit with those themes. Let's start by observing the card. The first thing that strikes me when looking at this image, it's a clear notion that I'm observing a powerful woman. She appears sitting down between two columns. She is dressed in a bluish gown with a cross over her chest and has a scroll on her hands. You can see that her crown depicts the moon stages, just like there is a moon on the foreground. Behind her is a curtain that depicts pomegranates, and behind that curtain, if we look closely enough, we can see what appears to be a body of water, an ocean or the sea. While these sound like complicated and mysterious elements, they can be deconstructed and understood. Let's start by the columns. They are two, which bring forward the idea of duality. One is dark, while the other is bright, so they are opposites, just like the duality principle. The B and the J stand for Boaz and Jason, making these columns a direct reference to the columns at the entrance of the Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem. The Solomon's Temple was supposedly destroyed by the Babylonians, but there are no records other than biblical references of this temple. If there ever were any, they didn't survive the trials of time. As far or as little as I've researched about it, there are no archaeological evidences that this temple ever existed, more so because no excavations or exploration of the land was allowed ever. Either way, this is a temple that is often referred to in Freemasonry, but it's probably within the Kabbalah that this temple has a more interesting meaning, at least to me. According to the Kabbalah, the Solomon's Temple represents the metaphysical or esoteric world, while the columns at the entrance, Boaz and Jason represented on the card, are representative of the active and passive elements of the world of Atziluth, which is one of the 4 worlds existing within the Kabbalistic tree of life. I already expanded too much talking about the columns, and I don't want to make it sound confusing because the Kabbalah is rather complex, and I'm probably not the best person to delve deep into this subject. So I will try to keep these references brief and easy to understand. But still a bit on the subject though, is the scroll on her hands, from which you can read Torah, T-O-R-A. And this can be a direct link with the Torah having the H concealed by her veil, like the mysterious woman that she is. The word Torah with an H in Hebrew means instruction or teaching. And in this sense, the scroll can relate to the 5 books of Moses from the Hebrew Bible. So being a symbol of a Bible, this can make the scroll the instructions or teachings that rule both the spiritual as the physical world. There's also a mention of the word Torah in the Wheel of Fortune card. Moving on to her robe, it's a blue robe, and this is a very important thing to analyze. The color blue is connected with the element of water, which brings us the notion of sensibility and consciousness. Think of water as an element that brings us the power to submerge into our subconscious, or several levels of consciousness. You can see that at her feet, the robe seems to be losing its shape and transforming into water. This is yet another suggestion of the High Priestess connection with the subconscious, but given that there is also a waxing crescent moon tangled with her robe in this liquid transformation. It's a clear indication that her connection with the subconscious works or is found through development. It symbolizes her intuition, the divine feminine, and the unbroken link and exchange with the unconscious. Also, the color blue immediately suggests that this is a card that works with the subconscious mind. If you see a card where the predominant color of the background or the character is wearing blue, they are using their subconscious or have a more reflective or introspective mindset. Her crown is made of the 3 moon stages, the waxing moon, the full moon, and the waning moon. These are representatives of the 3 stages of womanhood: the young girl or maiden, the mother, and the old lady or crone. We can connect the maiden to the waxing crescent phase, where life is full of promise. This moon stage works around hopes and wishes, just like a young maiden would. The full moon is the mother, a woman reaching the peak of her power, the completion of her desires and growth. The waning crescent moon is the crone, the old lady, a woman at the last phase of her life, with her light slowly fading away. Represents the surrendering and the resting phase. Just by her crown alone, we can understand the very strong feminine and spiritual energy from this card. She bears a Latin cross on her chest, which brings forth her religious connection and possible connection with Pope Joan. As story goes, or legend has it, during Middle Ages, a woman disguised herself as a man and eventually climbed the hierarchical ladder of the church until she was elected Pope, only being found when giving birth. A strong and highly intelligent woman reigning over a patriarchal system. This still sparks debate over its veracity or the ability of the church to erase past mistakes. If you take the story for real or fictional, it's up to you, but it's still over Pope Joan legend that the early tarot decks depicted a card named the Popess, which then evolved into today's High Priestess. Looking into the pomegranates, this fruit was firstly cultivated by Phoenicians, and they represented love, relationships, and fertility. But they do have several meanings depending on the mythos or religion point of view. For example, if you look at them from a Christian point of view, they stand for the Passion of Christ. The pomegranates show up in another card, the Empress, so I'll talk about them again later on. But for the interpretation of this card, the pomegranates are considered a symbol of abundance, of fertility, and yet another connection with the divine feminine. So after all of this, we can conclude that the High Priestess is a card that invites us to reach deep into our unconscious. She acts like a guardian sitting in front of this sort of doorway that separates our conscious side from the collective unconscious behind her. She doesn't really block or weigh in, but it sort of helps to create a bridge between the two realities, making it obvious that our deep unconscious isn't available unless we want to access it. Taking into consideration the elements of water and the moon, we can declare this to be a card linked to spirituality and intuition. The High Priestess helps us to tap into our unconscious, helps us to activate our intuition. We can have all the knowledge stored inside our deep unconscious, behind the veil, but we need passion and dedication to reach it and to achieve a deeper understanding. Remember how with the previous card, the Magician, we had a card that spoke of awareness and conscious acts put into the physical world? With the High Priestess, we turn into the inside, into the subconscious of the inner self. She symbolizes enlightenment at a spiritual level, inner and divine knowledge and understanding. On a reading, it will obviously depend on the question and the position it lands on the spread, like I mentioned on the previous videos. But the general idea is that this card means the hidden knowledge, the intuition, perceptivity, clairvoyance, and potential. It speaks of the mysteries of the seeker's life, be the seeker aware of them or not, of how the seeker has the potential, but he needs some sort of action to reach it. And to reach within, we often need to stop, to slow down, to be so still we can almost hear our heart beating inside our chest, listening to our body to guide us for an answer, and we seek the High Priestess as the guide and helper with this journey into our mind. So if this card is drawn, it might be a warning to slow down and to trust your intuition. It might be a good time to meditate and to look into your inner self for the answer you seek. The knowledge is there, and you just have to cross the veil to find it. As this is a card with a strong divine feminine energy, this can also be a call to connect more with your feminine side. Regardless of the gender you identify as, it might be a time to balance the masculine and feminine energies within you. Reach to your compassion and empathy. Reach to your emotions and allow yourself to actually feel. Moving on to reversals. Reversal meanings will depend on how you choose to read them, either by finding their energy to be blocked or faint, or by turning the whole meaning of the card upside down. So if this card is drawn reversed, it can mean that there is a seat at your hands, that there are secrets and concealment of things important to the question at hand. And this can work negatively towards you. It can even be by your own hands that this concealment came to be. And it might be working against you rather than in your favor. It can also speak of a potential for psychic intuition or even sexual energy that aren't being used or explored, or if they are in fact being used, they may be being used with a negative intention, so be careful with that one. You might be blocking your own access to your intuition out of fear or self-doubt. It's not always easy to look inside ourselves, but it is a journey with a great reward at the end. So it can be a good idea to focus on what is blocking the access and solve it. By flipping the card upside down, we also see that the waxing moon turns into a waning crescent, turning its meaning to a broken bond with the unconscious. This can bring a detachment altogether of your psychic energy and spirituality. This detachment can be a dangerous thing because when we detach too much from our own mind, we can lose our sense of self, our unique inner self. That's everything for today's video. I hope it wasn't too long because I tend to talk more than what I intended to, but I really hope this was an informative video to you. The High Priestess is a card with a deep meaning and takes a long time to understand it because it has so much symbolism and hidden meanings that the more you look into it, the more you learn about it. And sometimes interpretations vary from reader to reader on this card. It's very complex. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Before you leave, remember to leave me a thumbs up so I know you enjoyed this time we spent together. Write me a comment to let me know your thoughts on the matter, and if you aren't already subscribed, well, subscribe to the channel. It's free and you'll know every time a new video is up. I will see you on the next video for another card. Bye!